Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for Mayor of Abbotsford to bring the RCMP into Abbotsford of what took place. First, a massive investigation by the RCMP and then bring them in of why this happened in Abbotsford. The election's all over at the federal level. I want to thank Abbotsford residents that blocked and strictly helped get Mike DeYoung out, the MLA that was running for the MP position, over what took place in Abbotsford. Mike was no longer a voice. There was a buddy system, and that had to end. Threats on residents' lives. Jobs specially rushed through for partners and friends, taking advantage of the city. Councils that were no longer councils, they were collaborating with the former mayor, Henry Braun. I'm down in Ron Funk of Diverse that got the old Abbotsford newspaper site, changed the zoning. Henry Braun, the mayor, the former mayor, was lobbying all these jobs before he left the mayorship with his son in front of him, Darren Braun, for his partners in him to benefit over Abbotsford residents. Where Abbotsford residents were being strapped on building permits and homes and everything else. The illegal jobs. All cities, engineers, and everybody in the city staff was working double overtime to help Ron Funk of Diverse, which is illegal. It's insider trading. Ron Funk of Diverse figures with this site here down on the old newspaper, if we could keep getting built and we could keep going, no one's going to stop me. I got sales and nothing. It's organized crime. It was taking advantage of the city, and it was disputing the city's funds and everything for him. There was no bylaws. There was no enforcements. The site was knocked down illegally. Contaminations, but Abbotsford residents were being threatened when they wanted to speak at the city. The same with McCooper's farm and the stuff that took place up on Polygon's farm. I'm running for mayor. I'm going to go in and I'm going to audit them. And I guarantee Abbotsford residents, Ron Funk or no Ron Funk, Henry Brown or no Henry Brown, I'm going to bring a forensic audit in with the RCMP. Ron Funk's going to lose his assets and he's going to lose everything. This is your town. Nobody should be threatened. Henry displitted them funds, used city, Ross Siemens and councillors to help rush that through. Then he loaded Ross. He loaded Ross to finish the scam so he could come rich while Abbotsford residents were suffering the consequences of the vicious mob that was leading Abbotsford, Henry Braun, Ed Fast, and Mike DeYoung. The question is to this. Does Mike DeYoung and Ed Fast own into Diverse? This was a multi-million-dollar scam, and Henry Brown knew what he was doing. He went as far as using the Abbotsford police to threaten to block an election, to halt me from running for mayorship so them investigations would take place. This is on the world stage. I want every municipality and everybody to see. If you hear the name Ron Funk of Diverse Construction, this is what took place. Not only this on this one, they rushed fast-tracked the one by the hospital. Then on the Cacaro Ranch, Henry went and lobbied them 400 acres. And with city councils in his hand, he would say, I would overrule the general community and will give you a special zoning. Rob Funk is dead scared. It was an organization like a mob. The CEO of Diverse, Ron Funk, knew what he was doing with Henry Brown. Then he ran council signs here. But it was Mike DeYoung, the former MLA, and Ed Fast, the MP, that laughed in Abbotsford's faces and helped their friend, Henry Braun, cover up organized crime that got out of hand. Henry knew as long as he could control the Abbotsford police, nobody was going to haul him out or put a stop to it. He was going to frame you. I want to tell you how this happened. Henry's son, Darren Braun, who Henry put in front of him to help scam the city, rush these jobs and do the scams, put him in front as a proving officer. He started getting scared. He knew Henry was losing control, and he knew it was getting into the general public, and it came out. Ron Funk figures, because he's so big and such this big company, if we could keep going and we could keep, look at it, there's a shortage of condos. There ain't. It was built on organized crime. It was built without Abbotsford's say. It would then change the zoning from 200 to 420 something units, and Rob Funk was going to benefit. Henry knew the official community plan The more of these developments he could do, the more he could pull together and then start building the downtown core and high-rises and stuff. And Darren Braun showed you that. It takes me to come into mayor because Darren Braun showed me all this. And I want to make sure Abbotsford residents are never threatened again. And a vicious businessman never gets to tag up with MLAs and MPs and become rich. I want to open that can of soup and see who's all involved. I want to go deep down into that can of soup and make sure everybody who exploited the city and took advantage of the city, Rob Isaac of Engineer, City Manager Peter Sparanese, Dave Lowens, Councillor Dave Sadu when he was on here with Kelly Shahal and put their signs to give them decisions in order. You helped me get to the mayor's seat in the city councils. You can see Ross Siemens, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't make public appearances. He's running scared as Henry still manipulates him through Nancy Friesen on these stuff. This is how the threats begin. It was organized crime in hundreds of millions and billions and millions and millions of dollars for land. And Henry kept using the newspaper with Vicky Hope's gangs in Abbotsford. You know the Abbotsford police, the gangs. Fraud in Abbotsford police building, stealing the 71 million in cost overruns. And the Mackenzie Bog, people got deadly sick and their families got deadly sick. No city officials or nothing because they had their head buried down here rushing this job for Henry Braun. I'm even going as far as going into Rob Isaac, city engineers and everybody's financials. The only way you pull that out and drop the general public is you've been rewarded. And that we need to open up, and that will take the RCMP and a forensic team and we'll open it. You can see how scared. I talked to Rob Funk's foremen here. They said, you know, they're worried about a federal investigation, open Ron Funk from one end of Canada to the other. If it happened in Abbotsford, Ron Funk, with Henry Braun, I'm sure it's happening in the interior, and it's going to end because it was threats on residents. I'm live here at the Abbotsford Old Newspaper, British Columbia. So I'm going to run for your mayor here, and I'm going to ask Abbotsford to support me, to open up and give back you the city that George Ferguson created. Open mic. Allowed you to file in complaints, and this would be before the public. No more Vicky Hopes brought online with her scab newspaper to cover up stuff like this. I'm going to give you back your voice, because that's what keeps the balance of law. That's what keeps everybody from cheating, and that's what makes sure the RCMP know you're cheating so they can come in and grab your books. I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.